All right, everyone. I am back for my next segment. I said I was going to talk about this past week in the NFL, and oh, brother, I thought it was a good one, especially for young quarterbacks such as Jared Goff, Mitchell Trubisky, Patrick Mahomes with that comeback last night against Denver on a Monday night. What other? Oh yeah, Baker Mayfield. Yes, the ones that did struggle. Baker Mayfield. He did play all right, but with the turnovers, Josh Allen. Yeah, I was wrong about that, folks. For some reason, I thought Buffalo would be able to go on the road. Uh, to Green Bay, another NFC North team, and beat them. But crucify me, folks. I was wrong. I was dead wrong. Green Bay completely took them out of their game, 22-0. My guy Aaron Rodgers, he looked all right. I mean, it's only the first 4 weeks, but I think Aaron Rodgers now coming off of that injury, uh, coming off of that week 1 injury, I think he's healthy. He's ready to go. So after this week's over, expect that bad man, as Stephen A. Smith would say, expect him to be one of the best again. Just believe me. He's a bad man and we know it. So but the NFC North, yep. I'm telling you, these Chicago Bears. Folks, when Matt Nagy got the job, I was immediately thinking he could have the kind of impact that a Doug Peterson or a Sean McVay had. Uh, Back when Peterson got started in 2016 and last year with uh, McVay's first season. Matt Nagy comes from that Andy Reid coaching tree. He's an offensive guru like Peterson and McVay, and he's got a young quarterback in Mitchell Trubisky that I like. I really do. Good person. I think he could be something special in this league for years to come if he puts in that work. Yeah, I mean, I re- I really have some good expectations for that dude. Chicago, they've got a running game with Jordan Howard and Tariq Cohen. They've got some receivers now, and these receivers are better than the ones that they had under John Fox a few years ago. Believe me, we knew they were a good defense, but adding Khalil Mack, taking him from the Raiders, that really has helped as they have a pass rusher, a legit pass rusher, and other outstanding pass rushers. The monsters of the Midway are back, folks, I think. Now, I don't want to get too high on them because Green Bay, like I said, Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers, and that bad man that he is, as long as that defense could play the way that they did against that horrible Buffalo offense. Minnesota, they need to get their stuff together, especially on defense. The offense, it really hasn't been Kirk Cousins. It really hasn't, folks, even though he has made some good and bad plays through the first 4 weeks. It really hasn't been the offense's fault, even though it's a team game and they do deserve some of the blame. But it also comes down to the head coach, Mike Zimmer. What is he? How is he going to respond right now? I mean, they've got to go on the road to play Philadelphia, but Philadelphia, they're having their problems right now. So we're going to see the kind of team that Minnesota is if they want to get back to if they want to get to a Super Bowl this year. I mean, you gave Kirk Cousins all of that money. Your defense, they are not living up to expectations like we thought. Defense, you got to step up, man. You got to step up in on the defensive side of the ball, Minnesota, because I'm telling you, Chicago, their first four opponents, yes, they did have the heartbreaking loss to Green Bay at Lambeau. They did have that, but they've responded with 3 straight victories, and it all has to do with their defense. However, this past week at home against the Bucks, that Chicago defense looked good, but the offense looked better. I'm telling you, if that offense for Chicago could play, now I know it was against a horrific Tampa Bay defense, but if that Chicago offense could play if they could play like that, the way they did week 4, if they could play like that on a consistent, if they could play like that on a weekly basis, on a consistent level, watch out for Chicago because the monsters of the Midway on defense are back, especially with Khalil Mack. But Mitchell Trubisky, I was talking about him earlier. Oh, sizzling 6 touchdown passes. I mean, if he's on like that, and if that Chicago offense is on like that, watch out, Green Bay and Minnesota. However, I'm not set on the Chicago Bears yet, even though I think they're the monsters of the Midway and the love of Chicago football is back. I wouldn't go there just yet. And who knows? Who knows about Detroit? I don't think Detroit, they're in a rebuilding year under first-year head coach Matt Patricia. I mean, I think they'll improve as the season goes along, or they could be worse. Or they could just be another mediocre team. But yeah, Detroit, I didn't have high expectations going into this season. The teams in the NFC North, Chicago, Green Bay, Minnesota, but if Minnesota, I honestly think if they lose to Philadelphia, their season might be over, and it's going to come down to Aaron Rodgers and the Pack and Nagy's Bears. You like what I did there, folks? Like I said last week, relax on the Patriots. They're going to get things together. They did. Blasted the Miami Dolphins as expected, 38-7. Yep, folks. Brady, even though he did have a couple of picks, 3 touchdown passes, and the defense, all right. The defense, they did play. No, don't get me wrong. They did play well against Miami, but could this defense, and I think so, and I truly think so, could this defense, like that Chicago offense, could they play consistently on a weekly basis? I think they can. I think it's possible, especially, I mean, I think they are because, like I said, Bill Belichick and all, like I said last week on my show. But yeah, folks, Thursday, hey, they have even though they have a short week, it's at home against the Colts. Yeah, the Colts. Yeah, the Frank Reich call on 4th down in overtime. I don't know what the heck that was all about, but yeah, the Colts, I didn't have high expectations on the Colts anyway, so it really doesn't matter. New England in a lock against Indianapolis on a Thursday night. All right. before I go to break, let me conclude this segment with this. Steelers, yep, that reminds me, folks. Steelers still have their problems. However, Le'Veon Bell, I hear, is expected to report back either week 7 or 8. You might as well just get rid of him at that point. I mean, with all of the drama that's been going around. I mean, like I said, James Conner, after that week 1 performance, not going to be Le'Veon Bell. We know Le'Veon Bell. We know that, and that's Steelers defense. Oh God! When you think of Pittsburgh, what do you think of? You think of history. You think of the Steel Curtain. You think of Blitzburg. What is this defense? What is this defense? They're like giving up big plays every week. Like, it's ridiculous, man. Mike Tomlin. I mean, you're a defensive coach. Get that defense back together. And the offense, too. That second half last week against Baltimore. And I went to sleep against that. I went to sleep during the second half of that game. And maybe it was the right call because they could not get, that offense could not get past midfield after that first half. Midfield. Now, the Ravens credit them on defense, but that Steelers offense. No. The Steelers, they're going up against Atlanta this upcoming week. I think the game's at home. It's going to be a shootout. I mean, I don't know who to pick. I mean, because both teams suck on defense. Excuse me for saying the word suck on the radio. But both teams stink on defense, all right? It's going to be an offensive shootout, and it's going to come down to whoever has the ball last, I think. Either Matt Ryan or Big Ben. One of them's going to have to get the job done late in the game. All right, I'm going to take a short break. I'm actually going to get back to I'm actually going to talk more about what happened this past week in the NFL. So stay tuned.